Let's talk real quick about the Garmin Fenix 7 and Epix series of watches. As I'm recording this, Garmin has just released in the past month the Garmin Fenix 8. So you may be wondering, do I want to buy that Fenix 8 or is the Garmin Fenix 7 and Epix series still relevant? Is it something that I would be interested in? I'll discuss the nuance and then I will get into a little more detail after that, but I'm going to try and give you the bottom line up front, so stick around for that. Okay, first, I have a tendency to ramble on. I could make this video very long and I probably will get into the weeds when it comes into this watch and the software, its ilk, blah, blah, blah. But let me get you the specifics, like probably the most important nitty gritty. Right now, if you want a Garmin smartwatch, sport watch that has a microphone and a speaker in the watch that lets you take and make phone calls directly from the watch, albeit you've got to have your phone within Bluetooth range, then you've got to buy the Garmin Fenix 8. That's the one you want. If you want a dive computer in your Garmin, then you want the Garmin Fenix 8. You can stop this video right now, hit the links, grab one of those watches right now. That takes care of you. Related, if you want the most bleeding edge flagship product that Garmin offers right now, then once again, you want the Garmin Fenix 8. And especially if you don't care about the price, because the Garmin Fenix 8 commands a substantive price markup over the 7, which was, up until about 30 days ago, the flagship product, and it still has a lot going for it. But like I said, if you want the most recent, the most badass, the bestest of the best right now, bar none, don't care if I spend a lot of coin to do it, Garmin Fenix 8, that's your jam. Now, if you are still on the fence, you're still like wondering, should I go with the 8, the 7, the Epix? I don't know. Kind of the reverse. If you don't need speaker and microphone to do like voice notes, your digital assistant, and phone calls, if you don't need that, and you don't care about the dive computer, then everything else the Garmin Fenix 7 and Epix series offers you. You get all of the smartwatch functionality minus the phone calls to include notifications, and you can tailor those notifications to you. If you want every phone notification there is to include app and messaging, you can get that. And you can choose whether you want just to appear or appear and vibrate for any of those. If you want none of them, if you're like, I don't want any phone notifications, I just want to use this for a sport watch, you can configure it that way too. And I like that about the Garmin. In addition, when it comes to the notifications, if you have an Android phone, I realize iPhone kids, you're the special ones, but if you have an Android phone, you can even do quick responses directly through the watch, like yes, no, call you back in a second, or I'll meet you in 5 minutes, whatever you want, and they're configurable. So if you want to add some cool stuff to it, you can. So almost all of the smartwatch functionality is there. You're going to get an extreme amount of water resistance, not quite as much as the 8, but it's not set up for diving, but it definitely is water resistant. You're going to get all of the awesome sport watch functionality that you expect out of Garmin. And I'll get into that in a little bit when I kind of go through the user interface. But guys, in my opinion right now, if you don't want the additional functionality and features of the 8, which there's only a very small handful, then the 7 is probably your jam. I like it a lot. And if you want obscene battery life, then getting the Fenix 7 is probably the one you want because it has the transflective or MIP display, and you can even get solar versions of it. The one that I actually chose is the 7X Solar. It is the biggest of the 3 that you can get. You have a small, a regular, and a large. The large being 51 millimeters, the regular being 47, and I think the small being either 41 or 42 millimeters in size. I have 6 7/8 inch wrists, which is slightly small. Actually, most people I think run around at 7 for males. I don't find this to be too big on me. Some people would. I think my wife doesn't love the size of this watch on me, but I like it for the amount of screen real estate and the visibility it gives me during my travels, runs, workouts, things like that. And I'll talk about watch faces as well when I get into the user interface. If you don't care as much about battery life and you want a brighter display, then the Epix, which is, by the way, the exact same user interface and software as the Fenix. It's just got an AMOLED display, which is much brighter, and the battery life is a bit reduced. You're talking about somewhere between 6 to 15 days of battery life with the Epix, depending on if you have always on enabled for the display or not. For the Fenix series, you're talking probably 2.5 to 3 weeks at the bottom, and maybe more than that if you put the battery savings on. Like I said, I'll get more into details when I do the close-up of the watch, but in general, guys, I am pretty jazzed with the Fenix 7. I don't feel that I have been cheated or that I have lost any ground when it comes to not having the speakers directly in here, and I don't dive, so a dive computer's kind of lost on me. Let's get to the unboxing and the user interface. We'll talk more. All right, so let's talk about what comes in the box with this bad boy. The boxes for all the Garmins that I've ever seen all look pretty similar, so I'm not going to spend an inordinate amount of time on the unbox, because look, you know, probably if you've seen one, you've seen them all. What really makes Garmin not a pedestrian watch, but more of a premium watch, sport watch, and smartwatch is the watch itself, not really the unboxing experience. You know, it's your standard watch with the watch kind of display that you get. Obviously, we're going to have a charging cable that's always going to come with it. Oh, let me dig down in the bottom here. The manual, which is going to be pretty straightforward as well. And I'm sure we're going to have the warnings, yeah, safety precautions. Pluck it and file it, as the saying goes. I wouldn't even really bother messing with the manual very much, really. As long as you get the app installed on your phone, you're going to be good to go. It's going to give you a quick overview of all the stuff, but you know, you can thumb through this. There's a lot of information online about the watch itself, how to charge it, clean it, and then we start getting into other languages. And so you get, you know, the sum and total of all of the manual that comes with it really in the first 18 pages, and then we're into other languages. It's, you know, it's bare bones. It's not bad. Now the watch itself, guys, this is why we're all here. And you know, this is a pretend screen. If we pull that off, we have the actual screen itself. Now this is not one of the sapphire models. This is just a Pro, or I'm sorry, the regular 7X. So what that means is this is Gorilla Glass. It is not sapphire crystal. Now the thing is, I was more of the idea that rather than bother getting one of the Pro models that was extra expensive, and they're nice, don't get me wrong, but given the current state of the bargain with these watches, I thought what I would rather do is spend that money. Sorry, let me just put all this stuff up. I don't need this anymore. Was actually, rather than spend that extra money, I was going to get screen protector to just put on it. So I'll do that before I even bother turning on charging the watch. There's no fingerprints on it right now, so it's as pristine as it's going to get. I'll fast forward through that install, but I've seen some of these watches because of the amount of surface area, you can get a big scratch on them if you're not careful. Like I said, sapphire glass might help, but man, for like, you know, a few bucks, you can get like a triple pack of screen protectors that are tempered glass, fit right over it. You can't even tell it's on there. I think it's worthwhile. This particular one was, like I said, it was just a few bucks, and it comes with so many screen protectors, wipes, all the things, and a quick set of directions. And that's it. Easy stuff, guys. Seriously, that took me, I don't know, like 2 minutes. This one also comes with little protectors for the charging port. I don't know if those are really necessary, but you know, what the heck. I'll probably break one out and put it on after I'm done charging this thing and getting it set up. Because, you know, why not? I'd say, while this is on, you know, some sort of a bargain right now, compared to how it used to be. It's still not the cheapest watch ever, so I'd like to take care of it. So I will probably do that. I'll save these in case I need more of the, yeah, see, it'll just fit right in there. And like I said, I'll give it a charge before we set it up. But that's the unbox. Like I said, not a lot of crazy stuff with it. Probably this is more interesting than what comes in the package. The beauty of this is not the unboxing experience. Like I said, guys, it's really the watch experience itself. So let me just plug this in. Plug that in. And fiber reinforced polymer. All right, like I said, I'll charge it. We'll get it going. This part, like I said, the least exciting of them all. You know, stay tuned for more. All right, guys, let's talk about the basic functions, user interface, all the cool stuff with this watch. One, this is one of the downloadable faces. The ones that it comes with, I like. They're not bad. I'll show you some of the ones that are available on here. So let's see, here we go. Yeah, so this is the first one it comes with. Obviously we can go a little more analog looking, a little more digital. And there's a good chunk of included ones. The themes for the included ones are typically red based. All of them really feature, like, some are simpler, some are a little more complex in terms of the amount of data that they contain. And then let's see, I think we're getting close to the ones that I downloaded. No, I don't want to do that. Sorry, oh yeah. So this is the Glance one of the first ones that I downloaded, and I really like the Glance. Obviously Big Time gives you altitude, amount of calories burned, your heart rate, number of steps, battery, date. The top I've got sunrise, sunset, I want to say, and the bottom arc is the amount of battery. Notifications there, that 12 is the notifications. I like Glance. That's another one that's super popular. I forget which one it is. These are all free, by the way, guys. I think that one's, I don't even remember. Let's see. I like that one too. Once again, a downloadable one. Looks a little more analog-y. That's one of the simpler ones if you just want simple. I like this theme as well. Like I said, you got options. Then you know, you can add more. You can typically do them through the Garmin Connect. Let's see. We'll just go back to which one? I think Glance we'll stick with for the remainder of this feature set. So we'll apply that. Just in general, guys, the upper right-hand button is the start, stop, lap or back for the bottom right. The top one here is light, and it's also, it'll go into your another menu. These are up or down over here, and once again, some other sub-menus. You don't need to use the touch screen. You can enable it or disable it if you hit the upper right and lower left at the same time. If you hold them, it'll vibrate when it does that too. But if you want to use the touch screen, you can immediately put it back on. I find this super useful for if you're doing things like running or swimming, you're getting sweat or water or anything on the touch face. It can cause it to think that you're putting in inputs. So you can also configure for any of those activities the ability to turn on or off the touch screen. Let's see, if I hold down the upper left, I'm going to get the menu. I got different clocks, save your current location, which is pretty awesome. Find your phone, which I like. Do not disturb, you can turn on or off. Flashlight, I'll get more into the flashlight in a second because there's a quicker shortcut to get there. Strobe, if you're running at night, it automatically turns on the strobe, which is pretty freaking awesome. Right now, touch screen is on, sleep mode is off. You can turn off the power, you can go into battery saver. You can control music through this via your smartphone, and you can play Spotify directly on this phone or this watch if you wish. Garmin has the ability to add credit cards so you can use your watch to pay. Anyways, a lot of cool stuff there. If you hit single for the upper left, it turns on the backlight, which obviously we don't need right now. And if you double tap it, you get the flashlight. Interestingly, and you can control the intensity of that flashlight high all the way to low. I found that light actually to be a little more useful than I thought it'd be. I thought it would be kind of gimmicky and stupid, but it came in handy a few times. If you hold the middle button over here, you can go into watch face and clocks and history, and then you can go down into your settings for everything. And the amount of configurability is amazing, guys, amazing. Safety and tracking. If you want, you can set this up to call somebody as an emergency contact, and you can have it do it automatically depending on the activity that you are doing. Super cool stuff. If you hold the bottom button, I forget what we get into. Yeah, there's your music stuff. If you just swipe right now, you're going to get into the glances, and these are configurable. You can add or subtract what they call glances, but obviously my 5K plan, stocks, you can go into your notifications. You can see I have 8 messages, 2, I think, Instagrams, 1 email. It gives you suggested workouts, which you do or don't have to use. Obviously, my last activity was a treadmill run. Your training readiness, which I think it's probably going to tell me if I do go into it, which you can actually get more data. See, it's basically saying, hey, your sleep sucks, which my past few days kind of have. And then you can go even further in. It'll give you more info. Pretty cool stuff. Training status maintaining kind of goes into, your VO2 max, heart rate variability, acute load, blah, blah, blah. There's all kinds of stuff here. How much of a hill runner you are, you can obviously see that I'm not. My ability to run a 5K is probably pretty good right now. Health metrics, it's going to be stuff like your heart rate, which it's currently not on my wrist. The ABC is your altitude, barometer, and compass. And if you look, it gives you your compass, which is obviously pretty cool. Current altimeter, which you can calibrate, by the way, and you can calibrate it via GPS or direct calibration, i.e. I know exactly what my altitude is, so I'm going to put that in. Pretty cool stuff. Sunset and sunrise, which I like. Current weather conditions, solar intensity, and obviously at the top we've got our current battery life. If you hit the upper right button, you start to get into your activities, things like running, treadmill, bike strength, elliptical. You can project waypoints. You can take a walk. You can have it track you, and track me is awesome. Like if you're just going for a walk, you have no freaking clue where you're going, and you just want to be able to get back to where you started. If you hit track me, get at the end, hit the button again, and then it'll give you an option to track back, and it will literally point you back in the direction you came, or you can use a map view that actually shows you where you walked so you can basically move back. Super cool stuff. The maps on here are pretty freaking awesome, guys. Really, at the end of the day, there's a million reasons to use Garmin devices, but I think probably one of the biggest ones, maybe it's GPS functionality. And even if you don't like that GPS, just having it in your back pocket, just in case, it is not a bad thing at all. I didn't think it would be anywhere near as useful as I have found it. Even just going on short runs, places where I know exactly where I'm at, it gives you a lot of really good data when it comes to your run. So overall, the user interface is pretty cool. Now, this is the big boy, right? This is an X and it's a solar. So I got this basically wanting to maximize my battery life. I did not need the super bright display. I like this, what's called MIP or transflective. If this is too big for you, you can get the regular 7. This is the 7X, and they have a 7S as well, which is for if you want just a smaller display, maybe you've got smaller wrists, or this is too chunky, they got you. Now, if you want a brighter display, like something super, super bright, then the Epix is the exact same set of software, and that just gives you an AMOLED display, which is much brighter. And if you look at any of the Garmin communities, when they talk about these watches, there is kind of this real battle between who likes what. And there's no right answer or wrong answer, so please don't take this as me saying you have to do one or the other. I picked this one, which was the Garmin Fenix 7X Solar. I picked it for a couple of reasons. One, that flashlight, because I was curious. Two, the solar and the transflective means that this is really capable of giving me somewhere between 2.5 to 3.5 weeks of battery, at least based on the usage patterns that I'm seeing. And this thing was at 100% battery. It's at 65% now, and that was 8 days ago. And I have worked out and used the GPS more than a handful of times during that time. And usually the GPS usage is what really starts to eat the batteries. I haven't changed the GPS settings. You can actually choose if you want to use multiple satellites or if you just want to use kind of bare bones, or you can let the watch pick. And I kept it in auto mode where it just determines which set of tracking or satellites it wants to use based on its own algorithms. I've had no issue with that. Now, obviously, if you want to get deep into the weeds, you can change up all of those things. So you've got options. You have the base models of the 7 and the Epix, and then you have the Pro models of both. For those, this one has the Elevate 4 heart rate sensor. For the Pro versions, you get the Elevate 5 sensor. What that really gives you is a ECG or EEG. For me, that seemed more like kind of, I don't want to say gimmick, but a novelty for where I am in my current health and fitness journey, if you will. Oh, and I put a little teeny cover over the charging port too. Oh, let me pull that out. That's probably not necessary whatsoever. I didn't on one of my previous Garmin watches, but I ordered another watch band, more on that in a second, and it came with those little covers. So I figure, what the heck, we'll just put that on there. So like I said, the Elevate 5 sensor that comes on the Pro models, that really gives you EEG. I don't think that the heart rate sensor itself is any more sensitive than the 4, but it does command more money. In addition, on all of the Pro models, this, in addition to the updated heart rate sensor, they're coming with sapphire crystal instead of Gorilla Glass. I'm not that worried about it. What I do is, instead of spending an extra several $100s, is I buy a screen protector that costs a few bucks. And it goes on really, really quick, really, really easy. And if I do manage to bang up that screen protector, they always come with like 3 or 4 spares. So for literally less than, I don't even know, it's a handful of dollars gets you very nice screen protection and the ability to not have to worry about it. So that's kind of my hack. Right now, guys, the deals on these watches are screaming, and I think they're going to get even better all the way through the end of this year, what with Black Friday sales coming up, Prime Days. You know, at this time, if you want to buy one of these for you or for a gift, I think that the sweet spot in terms of price versus performance is really the 7 series, the Fenix 7 series and Epix. There is no more Epix in the next generation. They just folded it all into the Fenix 8. So with Fenix 8, you've got the option between transflective and AMOLED and solar and non-solar. There's no solar AMOLED, by the way. The AMOLED does not use any of the solar technology. Just in general, guys, it really depends on how much you want to spend, what kind of battery life you're looking for. But at this point right now, I'm super happy with this watch in terms of just wearing it around, in terms of using the GPS, and in terms of using it for workouts. This thing has been excellent. I think the data is pretty spot on in terms of heart rate and in terms of calorie expenditure. I know that no computer can give you a 100% perfect estimate of your calorie expenditure, but man, Garmin comes pretty darn close, guys. Also, I should mention all the downloadable watch faces. I really like that. I like the ability to just download different watch faces depending on my mood and swap them out. A lot of the other cheaper smartwatches that I've played with really don't have a lot of watch faces. They just give you what they give you. You spend a little bit more money and sometimes there's more options. But with Garmin, it's, I don't want to say limitless, but man, it's pretty darn close to limitless, right? Because any developer who wants to make a watch face, good to go. You can get ones with pictures in them, all kinds of goofy stuff. Or you can be very serious about, you know, the amount of data displayed. You know, the sky's the limit, and I really, really like that feature among others. I should also mention, guys, that if you want a different watch band, like this is the actual Garmin watch band it came with, and I like them. But if you want a different watch band and you don't want to spend a lot of cash, there are some really nice ones available on Amazon. And Cool, I've ordered one of theirs. way cheaper, exact same functionality. If you want to take this off, you just pull that little lever down and the watch band just pops off. Let's see if I can do it now without wrecking my thumbnail. I'm gonna have to do it off camera, sorry. There. You can see that came off, and it's very easy. I don't have to use like a tool to push any pins in and out. And then if I want to put this back on, or I want to get another watch band, swapping it out is a matter of like a minute or two, or even less. I would say seconds if you've practiced it at all. Yeah, see, and then I've just put it right back on, and it hangs on. So, even if you wear out the original, I like those and cool bands a lot. I'll, links where you would expect. Take a look at those. And I actually ordered a digital camo one just now that comes in, I think, in a couple of days. So that's it. That's kind of your quick walkthrough through all of the pieces, parts. You can go deep into the settings. What I also like is the Garmin Connect app on your phone. A lot of the same settings are available through that. So if you don't want to go weeding through all the different menus here, you can find it in that app and then sync it. So it, it really kind of helps you no matter what you want. And what I do love is, man, this thing, it really kind of can be as much or as little of a smartwatch as you want. And let's see, we get to my notifications. I'm probably gonna have to gray out some of this if I show you the notifications, but all of the, ooh, look, all checks complete. But if you go and look at all these things, guys, they're, and you can, oh, well, let's see, you can read them, you can dismiss it, or you can block the app. Like if you don't want to get email, then that's fine. I don't mind the email. Doesn't bother me any. I have mine set to vibrate for like text messages, but all the other notifications just queue up, so I can actually go back and look at them or not. Like I said, I probably talked too much. Did I mention I like this? We'll give you final thoughts. Okay, I know this video has probably gone on way too long. Let me just kind of cut out to the chase again. I know I probably lost a whole ton of people up front when I said, hey, go buy this watch or go buy that watch. But overall, guys, I'm super pleased with the Garmin Fenix 7X Solar. I realize that I got kind of the big boy, but if the functions and features of this watch are to your liking, then you can very readily find one that is going to work for you, whether it's a transflective or AMOLED display, depending on if you want the Fenix 7 or the Epix. You can also get a size that works for you. You can get functions and features that work for you at a durability and price point that I think is more palatable. Guys, there are way cheaper smartwatches out there. I've reviewed a couple of them, I have. And not that those watches are bad, but you are taking some hits when it comes to what you're getting because of what you're paying. Like if you start looking at the under $100 crowd, you're not getting GPS. It's just not happening. If you're under the $200 crowd, you're not going to get a lot of the activities, features, the watch faces, things like that. So really, you start to look at those price slices. If you start to go above $200, then we have some contenders that kind of come close to the Garmin throne, but I don't know anybody that has unseated it in that price range. And right now, I'm not kidding, guys, between now and Christmas, I am betting you're going to find some of these watches at screaming deals. Right now, I probably can't even mention this, so I'll have to cut it when I talk on Amazon, but this watch right now is about 630 bucks. But if you just want the Epix or the Fenix, the regular size ones, those are both $500 and under, like between $490 to $500. I suspect that you will see deeper discounts as the year progresses, and I think once we hit 2025. And I think that these are still very fully featured watches. There are people running around with Fenix 5s and the original Fenixes, watches that are 4, 5, 6 years old, and they're still getting good service out of those watches. So if you're hesitating because, well, maybe the next thing, maybe it's a little bit of money, I can pretty much guarantee you that unless you demolish this watch, and it's pretty durable, so you're gonna have to work to do it, that you're gonna get years and years of service from one of these Garmin watches if you want to go down that road. Now, like I said, you could go double and get the Fenix 8. I think the Fenix 8 is a brilliant watch. I think that while its initial release had some bugs, they have since rectified those. And so now when it comes to the buggy and the laggy and everything else, I don't think they've got that problem. I think that that's obviously the flagship watch. Guys, if you can afford it and you want it, then there's no reason to not buy it. I would certainly tell you to buy that. But if you don't want to spend that kind of cash, you want basically 99% of the functionality and the features without the additional money, then I think this is your jam. I'll end this here, guys. I don't want to go any longer. I think I've really, at this point, made like an epic nut and fancy length video, talked about a lot of the same garbage over and over again. I do all kinds of reviews and discussions of different things. Gear reviews is probably a pretty big focus. I do a lot of flashlight reviews. In fact, I think my next one's probably going to be another flashlight. I'm sure that's a shock to nobody who's watched more than 2 videos on this channel. But there's a couple of gun things coming up too. So don't worry, those are in the queue and in my brain, still kind of formulating as I talk to you right now even. Enough, I'll end this here, guys. Take care, stay safe. I'll talk to you soon.
Get 'em, Jay.